What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including WWE not planning Evolution 3, Seth Rollins' injury has changed everything, a world champion breaks character, has Trish Stratus finally retired, did WWE cancel a Money in the Bank cash-in, what happened to Lillian Garcia, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. Now let's see the intro and get straight into our first story. Now first story looks at, have WWE scrapped Evolution? Now our top story looks at the status of Evolution 3, and unfortunately it's not looking positive. Now one would assume that based on the positive response to Evolution last night, that Evolution 3 would definitely occur. Whilst ticket sales were initially slow, they did eventually pick up, and WWE had a packed house in attendance for one of the most critically acclaimed shows in recent memory. According to Triple H following Evolution last night, the WWE's women's roster deserves a ton of praise and stated that they could main event a show in a moment's notice if the story is in place. It's just an epic show. It was a women's show, yes, but it was just an epic show. It was an epic WWE production show. I like that. I love the fact that the women are now every bit part of the show in every aspect of it. At any point in time, they can main event if it's the story. It's all there. Having a night like tonight where they can all come together and celebrate that, it worked out well here tonight. Now in relation to the future of the Evolution concept, the game stated that it will depend on the demand for the show. As we move forward, I don't want to say it's yearly or not yearly. I think we see what that demand is for it. As the demand for the women grows across the board every day, it becomes less about having their own show. That's equality, it's all there. They don't have to have their show to be in the spotlight, but if it works, we'll definitely go down that road again. It's a we shall see. Now unfortunately, this doesn't sound positive. We have to remember that it took WWE 7 years to authorize another Evolution PLE. Triple H was initially against having another all-women's PLE to begin with, so it's unlikely something that he's going to be pushing for. Now fans will inevitably take issue with the game's comment regarding women main eventing PLEs. The women main eventing WWE PLEs rarely happens, and Triple H seems to use the same excuse each and every time. Yet he's the one that's booking the show, so he could easily book and produce a story that warrants a main event slot. Hopefully WWE ends up making Evolution a yearly tradition, and based on the positive feedback to the event, a third installment should be able to move tickets. As we mentioned time and time again, they just need to let PLEs breathe. If Evolution was given at least a month's build, then they could easily push tickets. You gotta remember, this was on the same night where a Beyonce concert was taking place, and they had less than a handful of weeks to build up the show and get it booked. Everything was going against this PLE, yet the women definitely went all out for this PLE. Next up, Seth Rollins' injury changes everything. Now we have an update on Mr. Money in the Bank Seth Rollins, and unfortunately it's not looking good. According to Triple H on the post-Evolution show, Rollins is set to have an MRI, and this will give WWE and Rollins more information. A little bit inconclusive, doesn't look good. We're in Birmingham tomorrow. He came here tonight. He was not going to miss his wife's performance tonight. He was here and he'll be in Birmingham tomorrow with Dr. Jeffrey Dugas. We'll get an MRI, hope for the best, and see where we can go with that. Rollins was reportedly backstage in a knee brace and crutches, and PW Insider noted that Rollins' knee brace was rather large, which is obviously concerning. Rollins has had a long history with knee issues, so that's why fans in WWE are extremely worried about Rollins' in-ring future. Now, according to the Wrestling Observer Radio, Seth Rollins' injury spot at Saturday night's main event was reportedly a cover for a legitimate injury that he suffered before Saturday. Somebody today told me what happened. They say what is going on is the reason these stories are conflicting is because he is hurt. But what happened on Saturday was a storyline, meaning he is hurt, but he did not get hurt on that spot. The spot was to cover for an injury that he has, which he will have worked on, and they're in Birmingham. So the idea that was suggested is that he'll be out of action for a little while, but they're going to say 9 months or whatever, but he will be back much sooner than that. So actually that would cover every base.
I was told 2 days before this to look out for an injury angle with Seth Rollins it was even described to me, it would be an injury angle that gets him on crutches going into SummerSlam. I was told this on 2 days before the match happens.
Well, whatever the case, Rollins was going to factor massively into WWE SummerSlam plans, and whilst it's unclear what exactly WWE had planned for Rollins on the show, he was destined for a match with Roman Reigns in some capacity. Naturally, this won't be going ahead, as even if Rollins doesn't require serious surgery, he's not going to go from being on crutches to having a 20-minute match in the space of just 3 weeks. WWE will be forced to pivot plans for SummerSlam, and this likely means that Reigns will receive a new opponent. Fans on social media are pushing for this to be Bron Breakker, but WWE may look to pay off the Reigns and CM Punk angle by having the duo team up to take on Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. But did WWE cancel a Money in the Bank cash-in? Following Seth Rollins' injury at Saturday night's main event, there was speculation online that Rollins' injury could have potentially cancelled a cash-in at the end of the show. However, it looks like a cash-in on Saturday night was never planned. According to PW Insider Elite, a cash-in was never planned for the main event match, and Goldberg was always going to lose to Gunther. For those who have asked, there was no plan for Seth Rollins to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase on either Gunther or Bill Goldberg last night. PW Insider Elite can confirm. The only change to last night's plan on main event was that Rollins was originally slated to defeat LA Knight, but the injury changed those plans on the fly. Goldberg was always slated to lose his retirement match to Gunther. We are told that Gunther's SummerSlam plans were already set in stone prior to this weekend, and that storyline will begin this or next weekend on Raw. Seth Rollins was not part of those plans. Now, there's significant discourse online right now related to Rollins' Money in the Bank contract. In the past, WWE have been keen to take the contract off wrestlers who have been injured. Take, for instance, Mr. Kennedy in 2007. Rollins' injury has come just at the start of his reign as Mr. Money in the Bank, so in theory, they could keep the contract on him for the foreseeable future. The issue is that the Money in the Bank holder is an integral part of the show each and every week, and WWE may wish to re-sign that role. There has been some fantasy booking from fans revolving around WWE crowning a new holder at SummerSlam, and with SummerSlam being a two-night extravaganza this year, a new Money in the Bank match taking place could be a great way to generate buzz for the event. Next up, what happened to Lillian Garcia? Now, Lillian Garcia was supposed to be the announcer for Evolution 2, however, she was taken off the event. Garcia announced on social media that she would miss the Evolution Premium Live event due to a persistent respiratory infection. I was so excited to be announcing Saturday night's main event and WWE Evolution this weekend, but because of lingering effects of a respiratory infection I got some weeks ago, I was only able to announce Saturday night's main event last night before my voice started wigging out. Luckily, Alicia Taylor was there to fill in for Garcia's role, and she still did a great job. Next up, the World Champion breaks character. A women's world champion Naomi is considered to be one of the most popular names backstage, and it's often been said that Naomi is loved by everyone in the locker room, and WWE names past and present have been congratulating her on social media all day. On the post-Evolution press conference, Naomi would discuss the reaction backstage to her win, and she decided to break character for a brief moment before hilariously snapping back into a villainous persona at the very end. Very emotional, very cool, very surreal. To go to the back and just feel the love, that's what touches me the most. And what I enjoy and love the most is reactions. You know what I mean? And just seeing so many new faces and talent, but also they're like, I've been watching you since... We got a lot of NXT girls here. I've been watching you since Total Divas, or I've been watching you since NXT Season 3, and just to see them get emotional and happy, it's really cool. But it don't matter. It don't matter because they ain't getting no title shots. WWE press conferences do continue to be a weird mix of kayfabe and reality, but Naomi handled the topic extremely well. Next up, Cody Rhodes defends WWE. WWE received vast criticism for producing Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia last month, and now their face of the company, Cody Rhodes, has defended the decision. The former WWE champion recently spoke to the Boston Herald, and according to Rhodes, WWE's business model sees them deliver the product all over the world. I don't want to be negative, but I will say that there's this whole gotcha culture over who is Democratic, who is Republican, who is a moderate, and who people support. None of these things really should be anybody's business, because our business is going where our show goes, which is all over the world, and hopefully bring people together. Rhodes would add that it was an honor to go to Saudi, even in tumultuous times. WWE is a non-partisan brand. We go where the show goes. One of the biggest eye-opening moments when you go to Saudi Arabia with WWE was when you look out at the fans. There's such a similarity between those who are hungry for WWE back home and those who are hungry for it in Europe, and those who are so hungry for it all over the world. I feel so honored, especially in tumultuous times, to be able to go. Rhodes' comments are going to lead to discourse on social media, but it's certainly appreciated that Rhodes addressed the topic directly instead of ignoring the elephant in the room. Next up, has a WWE legend retired? Based on Trish Stratus' match and subsequent standing ovation at Evolution 2 last night, there was speculation that this could have been the WWE Hall of Fame's final ever matchup. Stratus has seemingly retired a number of times throughout her legendary career, but has always agreed to come back. Thankfully, Stratus has managed to keep up with the modern day roster every time she's returned, and she solidifies her GOAT status every time she steps foot in the ring. According to Stratus, following Evolution last night, her match with Tiffany Stratton could have been a final match, however she insists it's not over until she says it's over. I've thought that like, is this the last time? It could be. The WWE Universe has been so wonderful to me and so supportive, I just feel so blessed to dip my toes into the current landscape. We built the foundation that they built a skyscraper on. Now that I get to come back and dip into that skyscraper, I feel blessed. I always have to worry, I have to make sure that I can hang with these girls. I want to knock down the preconceived notions about maybe there's no expiration date until you say it is. It's not over until you say it's over. Now there won't be any complaints if Stratus commits to another run, and we've seen time and time again that Stratus comes into these runs with the aim of putting over the next generation, which is definitely a key reason as to why she's so beloved. Next up, Drew McIntyre fires back. Fans have been highly critical of the Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul pairing on TV, and fans believe that McIntyre deserves better. But McIntyre has decided to clap back at these criticisms via X, saying the internet hates this already, which probably means it's not actually that bad. Now, the comments below the post are filled with fans complaining about his booking, but the former champion will no doubt do everything he can to make the storyline work. And finally, an epic match set for Raw. Now, final story looks at a major match that's been announced for tonight's Raw. WWE have announced that a gauntlet match featuring Bron Breakker vs LA Knight vs Penta vs CM Punk vs Jey Uso will take place tonight, and the winner will challenge Gunther for the world title at SummerSlam. Now, this match sounds awesome, and WWE certainly have a number of options for the ring general at SummerSlam. But who do you think is going to be #1 contender? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.